All right. How about now? Okay, I think you can hear me now. So here's what we're gonna do. So there's a folder that's in the description, but I think it is only allowing you to download. So if you want me to look at something, just type your name, and I can invite you to that folder. So Chris, you already tossed something in there. I've got that downloaded. All right. All right, Chris, what are we looking at here? We doing animation or are we shooting a short film? Okay, so at the very end, you want me to look at that?
Clever girl.
All right. So I'm going to I'm gonna skip. We'll look at just the end. So one of the things you've got going here so far, or one issue, yeah. So there's no whoops. Let's put that back. All right. So one thing that you're running into with this raptor here is that it doesn't feel like mechanics wise it's working. So like when this jumps, the way this is jumping, it feels like a stuffed animal that's getting picked up and just kind of plopped down. On this guy. So you would want to really look at the mechanics of a jump, right? So, you know, certainly you'll have your anticipation as you come down, and you've got a little bit of that right here that's happening in this body. You don't really feel it in the head. It feels a little bit stiff, and then we've got this knee that's gonna freak out, kind of go all over the place. But then once it comes up, once you hit this position, it's really stuck. You know, the legs, you're not getting that extension in the leg. Generally what you would see, if we broke it down into something really simple, and I know this is a different type of leg, this is a human leg, but if you're gonna bend down, right, you would, if you're gonna jump, this might be your neutral pose. And then we've got to squash, right? So you're gonna get that bend in the leg. And then once you take off, what do you get? You get some form of a straight. You're getting close to it, right? So when you take off from the ground and it's all bent up, you don't really feel like you're getting that push. And so that's one of the issues that you've got right now. You have a little bit of the squash, but then it turns into a stuffed animal as it goes. Does that make sense? So that would be a really big thing that you would want to work on. Then once you get into this, you've got your character really leaning over, like he's really leaning over, but we kind of lose contact with some of this in here. Like doesn't feel like he's really holding himself up. It's kind of moving around. So he does want to feel like he wants to fall over. So you want to get in that realistic motion, that realistic kind of balance and holding himself. You know, certainly this shape right here, and then that. It's a little bit funky. So it just gets a little bit stiff on you as you go through here. And I know it's tough because, you know, where are you getting reference for this? But overall, I would say it does kind of look a little bit animatronic-y and stuffed animal-y, if that makes sense. Janine, am I saying that? Jeannie. I'll get it right. Jeannie, do I look at work from anyone? Sure. So I just need to be able to access your work. So if you don't go to school at UT Dallas, I would just need to invite you to the folder that I'm pulling it out from. This might be like this is the first time we're doing this, so the way to do this I don't really have it smoothed out. I can invite you to the folder. I just need an email. So you might not want to give your email. So let me check the folder. See if we've got anything new. We got another one from Chris. Hey Isaac, how are you doing? And Todd's there too. Yeah, Chris, I can look at that. Again, it's going to be the same thing. It's super stiff. Like everything is really stiff. It feels like I'm. So like when that raptor comes in, like it's just kind of there. It feels plastic. So nothing feels like realistic motion. And so then when you've got your character moving, it feels like somebody is doing this with it. Like they're just kind of bouncing along. Hey, Amanda. All right, so let's take a look at this hamster. Yeah, Todd, hey, Todd, so an issue with the box folder. I understand. So I don't know how I can send out that link, but that link only allows people to download from it rather than upload to it. So I'm not sure what settings I have to do to allow anybody to upload to it without personally inviting them to that folder. So I'm trying to figure that out. So let's look at this. Maybe Todd. One second. I'm going to try something. Todd, I'm going to invite you as like an editor, and maybe you could figure that out. No, you're a co-owner, Todd. All right, Todd, I sent Sent you the thing. Hey, Todd. I made you the co-owner, so if you want to, you can change it now if you want to. All right. So I'll look at this. Let's look at this hamster. All right, Chris. So here's what I would say, just in general with both of these pieces. So you haven't. So you're in. So Chris is in my animation 1 class. So he's just starting, and so what you're trying to do isn't is normal, and what you're running into issues that are, again, kind of normal when you haven't learned how to animate, which is we're moving things around, everything's really stiff. Even if you're using reference, like right now it looks like this beginning part is stuck on a loop, like it's just like, you know, it's playing like the first few frames of an action and then it's popping back, right? So it's, and then we go over to the other side and it's having, so then once we get in here, you know, the arms are moving, right? They're moving up and down, but it's super stiff, like super stiff. So you don't really feel like the hands actually probably like grasping the face or like actually rubbing it. It's just some movement on those arms. And what you're trying to do is super complicated stuff. Like this would be a challenge. This would be a challenge for me to get to look right. It would take a long time. So for somebody who hasn't ever even really tried to animate or learned how to animate, you know, you're just running into normal issues because you're trying to do really complicated things. Which is cool. It's just probably you're going to run into, it's just going to get frustrating along the way, because if this is your learning time, right? You're at the beginning and you're trying to do things that you need to have like skills for the very end. That's kind of in the position that you're at, if that makes sense. Okay, so anybody who is on here right now, if you want to, my link right now is only allowing people to download things, which obviously doesn't really help anybody. So if you have something you want to upload, certainly if you go to school at UT Dallas, it's super easy for me. Just tell me you have something to upload and I'll put your name in there. Otherwise, like Jeannie Spangler, we're trying to get that worked out so that you can put something in there. Does anybody have, let me jump in the folder. And I'll take a look at anything. Or does anybody have any like just generic questions? Or they don't have to be generic. They can be specific if you want. Isaac, how is if Isaac is still on here? How is Blizzard going? Are you out there yet? Have you started? Hey, Chris, you're also going to want to close that mouth at some point. So when he's here, you know, he could be growling, but then he's going in for a bite. But we can still see it's open. And then he backs away and it's still open. And he's down. You're never really getting it to see it like actually close and like clamp. So you want that change of shape. You want to be able to see that so that it's like he's actually chowing down on this dude. Michael, you can. Jolie, if you would like to send a 2D animatic, I would be happy to look at it. But I'm going to have to, I think, unless the settings have been updated, you can try to upload to that link. If you can't, then I'm going to need your name. So let me real quickly. Jolie, I don't know if let's see if you're Jolie, I can send a thing to your old school email. Michael, is this Michael Martin? If it is, I can send you an invite. So to improve the hamster. So your motions don't look realistic right now, Chris. So we can. So here's the tough thing. Like I can explain a whole bunch of stuff, but I don't think it's going to actually help right now because I'm not positive you're going to know what I'm talking about. But I'll point things out. So those hands right now. You know, they're not even moving, right? So they're stuck. They're just sitting in like an IK position. And they're just rocking back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. That's one of the issues with this, why it feels like it's stuck on a like a repeating loop over and over. That's getting just a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. So it doesn't necessarily feel real. And this part doesn't help it right now. So then once you get past that and we get into, we can take a look at this turn real quick. You know, as you come across with this, it's pretty stiff and it hits hard, right? Like those hands are rock solid when they hit, like bam, they hit a wall. And then we run into that same kind of problem, like they're frozen and stuck in position. And then once we get into cleaning of the face, you see how these just they don't look like they're touching the actual face. You do have some like little rig issues where it's like clipping. But they're traveling on this line, right? They're not making arcs or really interacting with the face. It's just like an IK up and down, up and down, up and down. Okay, so Todd, you sent it to, where's the email? Or sorry, the link. let's do hey Michael, I sent you a link, an email to your school email. Hey, Chris, I don't know that the whiskers are necessarily the issue. It's the hands. They just don't look like they're touching anything. You see how the hand position, like the fingers and everything, even at the wrist, it's fully stiff. So Todd, your link isn't showing up. Are you seeing that in the chat? I think I'm the only one who can post an actual link in the chat. All right, who gave me a Maya file? It's going to take extra time. All right, I got a zombie walk. Who did a zombie walk? All right, so let me know in the chat whose this is. But I'm gonna go ahead and start. Oh, okay, cool. Jeannie. All right, so one of the things that you're gonna want to do is for any walk is to lock down those feet. So if you're doing kind of a cycle or something, if they're gonna walk forward, those feet are gonna have to make solid contact with the ground and then stay there. Otherwise it looks like they're kind of on a treadmill or something that's kind of slippery like ice or gravel or anything. So like right here, we've got 2 feet that probably should be in contact, but they're both moving at the same time. So it starts to give a really weird feel. Plus, what should probably be happening. So let's open up some of this. So I'm not familiar with this rig, but we're gonna try it. What probably should be happening right here is this thing. I'm gonna copy it. This foot probably shouldn't be moving back. You didn't have good zombie reference. So I'm gonna butcher this up just a little bit. Oh, I see what's happening. Okay. So you have two things that are hurting you right now. So number one is this master control that's going to move everything, right? And in general, you don't want to move that. You didn't feel challenged. Well, you picked a tough thing. So these master controllers are really meant for placement. Like, I'm going to put it wherever I want in the scene, and then you usually leave it alone. You don't really touch it, because what's happening is this control, you can see, moves the feet forward, but so do these. So the hard part is in a walk, again, once that foot plants, it shouldn't move, right? It's got solid contact. Do I think it's demo reel worthy? No, you don't want to put this on a demo reel right now. No. Once it makes contact, it's got weight on top of it, and it shouldn't slide around, because if it slides around, then it doesn't really have weight, and so you're gonna lose that feel. So if you're animating this controller that is always moving forward, you're gonna have to be counter animating that that foot to always move it back. All right, so the chat, this is Todd. I don't know. Are you wasting my time? Dude. Now I'm annoyed at you. Dude. How in the world would I know? How in the world would I know? Stupid question. Is this demo reel worthy? Animating the master controller. There are people who are on here who want real critiques, Todd. Good grief. I should have known uploading a Maya file, an MB, a binary too. Kind of animation amateur. All right, Michael. Moving on from Todd's jokes. For a new video. Thanks. I'd say some things, but I'm on a live stream. All right, Michael. It looks pretty good. So what kind of notes are you looking for? I mean, all of that looks really nice. Since I don't know, I don't have any reference right now. The one thing that you could look at is when you're putting in that clip, if it had a little bit more This is some, again, it would be something that you would want to look at reference wise, but that push in, is there a little bit more kind of force that's happening with that to push it up just a little bit more? But again, overall I think it looks great. Any tips for first person animations? I never did any. You already have more experience than I do. And I don't know if maybe, again, depending on force, like if this, when you're shooting, if that needs a little bit more, if it's just a little bit faster to make it feel like it's boom, 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 like you don't have to shoot it faster, but the recoil. Other than that, I mean, it's super nice. I mean, it's super nice. The whole thing is already nice. Those would be my only two little areas that I would try to take a look at. But I wouldn't necessarily change any of it. Yeah. It's really good, Michael. You're ready. Sorry, I know you're probably like, I wanted serious notes, but I don't have serious notes. It's good. All right, Jolie. If anybody has any other just like regular animation questions, feel free. I'll see what I can answer. I don't know if I'm really answering anything. Sean, you're a liar. Oh. A liar about what? All right, Jolie. Let's take a look. Overall, I think it's pretty good. Okay. So let's talk about it in terms of, there's two things that stand out. There are parts of it that feel a little bit slow. So I think by editing and compressing some time, it'll have a little bit more impact. So a couple of your little action scenes just feel a little bit slow. So right in here, when he's gearing up to do whatever he's going to do, this all gets pretty slow. there's the fight. Let me just play. Again, some of this is a tiny bit slow, and then this part in here, like this right in here, pretty slow. But you know, it could be some of the. It just depends on, I guess, like what you're trying to do with it. But that's just my overall first impression. The other part was just looking at where your characters are. So we've got your main guy, or main bad guy, and he is he's on your left. He stays on the left, and then he throws his thing. Boom, push out of the way, and now he is, you know, he should be like right over here, right? If he's coming in, I think that's where he would probably be. And it feels a little bit funky, maybe. I don't know. I could get over it. But it does feel a little bit weird. Then all of a sudden, now he's coming in on this side. So he was on the left, then he's on the right, and now he's on the left again. So I think if you're gonna do that, there's nothing necessarily wrong with doing it. We're probably just gonna have to make it a little bit clearer. So like here, he's clearly, our bad guy is clearly over here. And so his attack, his whatever it is, fireball, is coming in, which is moving this way, and your character, your main guy, is going to go over here. But then it gets a little nondescript, like I'm not positive where he is, and now he's clearly looking over here, and so our bad guy's over there. So it probably, if you're going to do that, it needs a little bit more explanation of how that's happening. It just gets a little bit kind of confusing. So those are the two main things that I would say. Gets a little bit slow sometimes in the action, and then flipping this guy from left to right to left. Those are the big things. I feel like this shot right here could highlight this character more. So what you have right now is this big line right here, and you've got a lot of straights coming up. Now, one thing that you do have that's kind of going for you almost is you've got this, but what I think you need to start doing is playing with that perspective a little bit more. He's really high, like right above them almost. So what I would try to do is, let's look at your, sorry, let me erase some of this. So real quick, if we toss this in, that's a awful thirds, but why not get these like right in here, right? Let's put them somewhere right around in here, and then make sure that this building's perspective is like really clearly like pointing at him, and then trying to force some of these other perspective lines to that. And then if there's smoke and fire, can we curl some of that up to act as frames and make some interesting shapes that curl around and really highlight this character? That's, for me, when I first played it, I kind of looked all over this frame and wasn't quite sure. I mean, you get movement that happens, and I think that's good, because we're always going to look at that movement. But I think you can really set this up to make this shot like super strong. Like really, this is your establishing shot, so make this one awesome. I think this is not bad. Yeah, I think you're all right. Okay, does that help? So just a few little things there. Annie can't Well, I can't be at the crits on Friday either. Sorry, Annie. We'll never see you again. Can't make Mondays, can't make Fridays. All right, I think that's everything, including the fake Todd video. Does anybody have any other questions or anything else you want to put up there? Jeannie Spangler. Where did that name come from? It's probably, I probably should have known that. Probably a fake name. Jeannie Spangler. Michael, you still on here? Have you got any job prospects? Have you found anything? And Jolie, how is your? Have you streamed this week? So the Jurassic World 2 Mammalian. I haven't seen them, so I don't know. One of the tough things about doing a dinosaur is you're really guessing, right? So, you know, we don't really know what they look like. You can look at some birds, obviously. You can look at an ostrich or an emu and some of those things. But I guarantee you, I know when we animated dinosaurs, so I worked on Land of the Lost. And when we worked on Land of the Lost, it had T-Rex and it had some other like T-Rex animals. It had some raptors, I believe. Yeah, it definitely had some raptors. And a lot of times we looked back, and I know people will look back at the original Jurassic Park because they animated it really well. Like, it's really great animation. And so sometimes it becomes like a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy. Just because there's not a whole lot of, obviously there's no reference. So it gets a little bit weird. Did I animate the T-Rex? So I animated, I was a supervisor on that movie. I animated one shot of a T-Rex from really far away. He was tearing into like a clothing store and like eating a mannequin, but it was pretty far away. I didn't look at any reference for that because he didn't have to move a whole lot, and he was really far away. He was really just like diving in. It was kind of similar to your raptor, right? Like diving in and eating and like shaking. It was a lot of that, but it was also really far away, so it was kind of small. And then I animated a scene where the main characters are running up like rock pathway into a cave, and there's a T-Rex that's chasing them, but the camera it's like a big flying camera move, and so I animated like half of it, but then I had to turn it over to somebody else because it was taking a really long time. It was a long shot, and it was super complicated, and I just didn't have time to supervise all the animators and try to do this really big complex shot. So, but in that one, again, it was a cycle, and you weren't seeing, like, the shot wasn't about the T-Rex, it was about all the characters running away. So the T-Rex is running and it's chasing, and then like the camera is flying up above, and then it dipped down and went between the T-Rex's legs. So again, you weren't seeing a ton of the T-Rex. Michael, where'd you start? What game studio? All right, Chris, I'm reading your other. You don't get the sense that you're watching reptiles. Again, you don't. There's not a whole lot. There's not reference for those things, so they're making it up. They're just trying to figure out what looks. A lot of times it's like what looks cool. But you know, those guys are, you know, they're really good. They're really good at what they do. So, but again, I haven't seen it, so I don't want to say it's not good or is good or whatever. So. Jolie, you streamed Wednesday and you're doing some modeling in grease pencil. Are you learning Blender? I thought I saw that. I thought I saw your tweet that you're trying to learn Blender. Wonderworks Studio. I haven't heard of that one, Michael. Where is that? Is it here in Dallas? Hey, Jolie, that's all right. Whatever gets the job done. When I was animating when I started animating in Harmony for these birds, to do my timing, I went back to Maya and figured out the timing, because it was easier for me to put the audio, the banjo music into Maya and time it. It was hard for me to do it in Harmony. I didn't feel like the scrubbing to the music was as good and like seeing the waveform. So I actually animated the whole thing in Maya with a bouncing ball, and then I could copy the timing. I just took the timing and put it into Harmony. So it was, anyways, whatever gets the job done. Wonderworks Studio. I gotta see this. Wonderworks Studio. In Arlington. I've never heard of it. Are you working remotely? Or are you at home? Or sorry, or are you in the studio? Yeah, but if you don't know Blender, then it's not easier, Chris. Yeah, that Roblox. Okay, so they make like the content for Roblox. Okay. That's right, Julie. All right. Does anybody have any other questions or anything they want? Let me check, make sure nothing's been uploaded. All right. Okay, so we're gonna do this every Friday. So hopefully we'll figure out the folder situation. Though I might just leave the folder as is, right there. So if you've already been invited to it, you should be able to just submit things. Okay, so hopefully it was helpful. And feel free to come back and submit anything that you want. Sound good? I'll assume it sounds good. All right, everybody. So long.